Hey, what's up? This is Joe. This video is going to take you through the experience of working Daytona Beach Bike Week 2025. So it's supposed to rain all night tonight and all day tomorrow. So I'm back here looking for something that's a little bit more out of the way, kind of a place that I can hunker down for an entire day if I need. Of course, the weather forecast is always subject to speculation. We'll see how it goes. I found a place a little further back behind my abandoned house over there, so kind of gives me a better place to sort of set up my tarp and stuff like that. Hopefully stay dry and hopefully not get kicked out. The main aspect in stringing up one of these tarps is to keep it as low to the ground as possible. I've made the mistake of putting stuff way up high, thinking oh yeah, I got more space underneath, easier to move around and stuff. No, because rain's just going to come in right through the side. If you keep everything down low like this, you know, you're going to stay a lot more dry. And then the second thing about these lightweight tarps is to make sure you got a pitch where the water can roll off. It doesn't seem like it, but it's really easy to kind of have flat spots, and then water's just gonna pool in those flat spots and could potentially collapse and, you know, potentially like buckets of water on you in the middle of the night. So always make sure you got a pitch slanted downwards, keep it low to the ground, and as many anchor points as possible. All right, so now that I got that done, well, I still got a little bit of daylight. I'm gonna hike back in here a pretty good ways and hang this up. I got enough food to last a day and a half if need be. Even though the Florida black bear is endangered, I've seen 3 of them on one occasion, and they typically tend to congregate in like urban areas. I didn't even know they were endangered until I looked it up. But yeah, since this is obviously bear country, North Florida, I'm in the middle of the woods. I'm gonna walk back here quite a ways before hanging this food up. Hopefully I won't be bothered out here. All right, a little bit of rotisserie chicken and some fancy Grillo's pickles. Hanging out here, got nice rain coming down. I'm perfectly dry inside of this thing, but kind of the inside of it, you get some condensation and stuff like that, but it's really not too bad. So I'm gonna sit here kind of bundled up and eat my lunch. All right, just had a little bit of a tense confrontation A couple of really big dogs came through this way and stopped like right there and started barking, staring at my tent, obviously. And then I heard a man's voice and he's like, "Who keeps throwing all this food around here to my dogs?" So I walked over, introduced myself. I told him, "Hey, I'm Joe. I'm not throwing any food. I don't leave any trash," type of thing. And he's like, oh, that's cool, man. Yeah. I found in a lot of these situations, just introducing yourself, now they've got your name, they know who you are a little bit, you're not just a stranger, just goes a long way. And although the dude was pretty cantankerous, he was, ultimately ended up being really cool. And I don't think this is his property to begin with. I think he's kind of, really, we're both kind of trespassing. But this is the second time this has happened in Florida, where a couple of dogs, domestic dogs, have blown my cover like this. It makes you wonder if you're ever really alone in the state of Florida. I don't think so. All right, it's about 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Today's setup day, so getting all this packed up. Obviously just have to put everything up wet, I'm not excited about it, but I can always dry it out later after we get set up out of the way. Fortunately, it's not really raining right now, so that's the one thing I was scared that I was gonna have to pack everything up in the pouring down rain, which would have really sucked. Hey,
what up, man?
What's happening, dude?
Bro, you still living on the bike?
Yeah,
yeah,
of course, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're working this rally too, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw you at Sturgis. I was on the Gold Wing next to you in the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while. Where you been?
I was in Asia for 3.5 months. I went to Singapore, the Philippines, Indonesia.
So you've been gone since the rally then?
Since Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So just waking up inside the truck. This is where I sleep at night. We got this nice kind of bunk up here. I got my sleeping bag and a sheet, pillow, blankets, and everything like that. I kind of hang my backpack from this fastener right here so I can get into my stuff right there. So now I'm going to put this wire rack back over the bed. So now the first thing I'm going to do, absolutely essential, I got to have my coffee. So I'm going to make some coffee, sit here and look at my phone for a little bit while I try to wake up. The next order of business is to get one of the demo bikes out and take that over to the Waffle House and meet the rest of the guys for breakfast. Okay, so these are two of the guys that make Memphis Shades into the industry titan that it is today. This is Steve, head of R&D, and Alan, the owner of the company.
Good morning, good morning.
Okay, so another thing we like to do when we get here is kind of lay the tools out, all the common sizes that we use, get everything kind of in order, and be ready to start the day. All right, this is one of the new road glides that my boss just picked up. This is his new windshield for the 24 and up. So he let me take this to the store on a grocery run. It is totally a trip to be riding a big ass bagger with that much available power. It's just absolutely incredible. I'm old school, so I'm not really crazy about this big LCD screen and everything like that. So people probably like that. I'm just not into it, but it's basically like riding a two-wheeled car. Okay, this is my buddy Art. He's a longtime fan of the channel. He's got some kind of distinctive boots over here. I looked down at his boots and noticed the leather strip right there. What you got going on there, Art?
That's for my shifter and my bike. I don't have heel toe.
Yeah? Okay. So it looks like you've been doing some riding with those boots, huh?
Yeah, they're almost 5 years old now. Bought them in 2020. No, actually they are.
So
Bought them in March of 2020.
So did you wear a hole clear through your boot, and that's why you had to put that there?
They have a composite toe.
Okay.
It was showing the white of the composite toe.
Okay, okay. So you had to cover that with something?
Yeah, kind of. A buddy of mine, he stapled it down on the sole. They're a Georgia boot, comfort for water.
Okay.
I like them. Give you good traction. You get in sand, you scuff your feet.
Yeah.
They're good.
Okay, so at work, obviously, getting ready to do one of my favorite installs, which is a Road Warrior fairing, one of our more popular fairings on this bike, which is a newer Softail Street Bob. So I'll show you how it's done. Now, a couple of components to this install, the first of which is a headlight extension block, which sort of brings the headlight out flush with the front of the fairing. Okay, now I'll loosen up the bolt at the bottom of the stock headlight block. Just kind of get that loose, but not take it all the way out yet. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and remove this nut that's attaching the headlight to the block. Go ahead and finish taking this bolt out and remove the stock block. Place the stock block with our headlight extension block. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the bolt on the bottom. Get it lined up center.
Well, this ain't important. We have a box Harley parts. If we had those.
Now just kind of get on the bike and angle it so it's pointing straight. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and install these clamps onto the fork tubes. Basically, I'm taking out this screw with one of these T-handles. And I'm going to take that all the way out. Separate the clamp and stick this piece on the inside. Kind of like so. And if you sort of find the right orientation, find the right setting, you can kind of angle it in there. It's kind of hard to explain. It's sort of snap it together like that. And screw it down. Making sure not to cross thread it right here. These have got a little bit of anti-seize on them. Just kind of have to wiggle it around until it feels right. And leave them loose enough that you can still sort of position them on the fork tube. Just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna take the hardware off of these brackets and mount them to the inside of the fairing. 7/16 socket. Loosen all these. Now I'll take these rubber bushings out. Insert them into the holes in the fairing. Sort of take it like that, bend it. And I'll take the bracket, open up the trigger lock, and have it so the tab is basically pointing inwards towards the headlight. Take a couple of these fasteners and put these on the outside. Put the screw and washers back. Go ahead and tighten these down. Not a whole lot. Kind of get them nice and snug. It's got 2 washers. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and put the fairing on the bike. All right, so now that I got the fairing on the bike, I'm going to sort of just lift up a little bit on the bottom fork clamps and make sure they're seated entirely deep within those grooves on the brackets. And then go ahead and make sure it's kind of centered pretty much around the headlight. And now I'll go ahead and tighten down those fork clamps. So at this point, I'm pretty much done with the install of the actual fairing. So I'm going to go ahead and give the customer a call and have him come up, sit on the bike. That way I can get him sized in for the right size windshield. So 13 is going to be about right there. All right, obviously now I'm going to go ahead and install the windshield. It's 6 of these little fasteners with a plastic nut on the outside and a metal star washer that goes on the inside of the fairing. A little bit of a debacle the last couple of mornings. Bike has been really weak to start and reading a low voltage. So as far as I know, it's still the stock battery from like 2019. I called around. There's a Honda shop in Daytona, and they had one left. So a buddy of mine just happened to come right at the perfect time and offered to go down to Daytona and pick it up and bring it back. So yeah, as soon as he gets here, I'll go ahead and see what kind of charge is on the battery. Might put it on the charger for a little bit and then throw it in the bike. go. So we finished up another work day. Now we're heading to the flat track races in Daytona Beach. So let's go check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Year's Short Track at Daytona. It's time for opening ceremonies. We're going to turn our attention now down to that victory podium, and we'll start things off. Folks from Vagabond track judging into this game with a young judge.
The story, but Dan's boot is cut open. There's blood on it. He tangled up with some other bikes, and I think his foot got hurt on the other bike.
Oh shoot!
But if you look at that boot, see the boot sitting there?
Oh yeah.
So look, Dan got hurt. Yeah, look. That was mine. That was white. That was in a pinch. That's from the other bike. You got hung up in the other bike.
Listen, three of them ran together. That's what I saw on the back straight. I didn't see the front to start. Didn't look at anything there, but.
Wow.
Yeah, right now the five guys do have a couple bike links back. I think Ryan Wells, if he's able to settle down, might be able to get by guns and use, but right now
Well, that's another bike week in the bag. Just got everything packed up. Boss is taking off back to Memphis. I got no idea what the hell I'm doing after this, honestly. And right now I'm too tired to even think about it. So I guess I'm just gonna get on this beautiful motorcycle and start riding and see where I end up. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.